In a world filled with hyper-stimulating edits, clicks, snaps and pops that keep you entertained and hooked you onto a video, this is going to be the least stimulating video you're going to watch today to give you value without frying your dopamine receptors and keeping you in a rut of procrastination. Good luck. Hello, I'm Dylan, I'm 18 and I coach unproductive people to turn productive. I personally went on a journey of productivity from 5,000 hours or 210 days straight played on Call of Duty and other such video games. I would sit down, I'd play games, I'd go to sleep. No homework, no revision, no aspiration for business, and that's what kept me stuck. However, I turned my life around and now I effortlessly and easily breeze through large banks of my work, for my business, for my education, for my personal development goals, and I'm helping others do the same. And this video is going to be low stimulation to no stimulation and pure actionable productivity advice so you can finally make progress. If that sounds interesting, let's get into it. So the first piece of advice I'm going to give you in this video, with no editing, no music, no sound effects, just straight useful advice, is chronological intensity planning will change your life forever. So this is a concept I came to during my shift from gamer to productive, from useless, lazy to finally finding my purpose at the moment in my life. And chronological intensity planning sounds fancy, sounds advanced, but it can be called snowballing. So on a winter's day, you stand at the top of a hill, snow is falling all over the ground all around you, and you have a small snowball in your hand. If you roll the ball down the hill, as it reaches the bottom, it's doubled, tripled, quadrupled in size, and you have this huge mass of snow that's generated from the momentum of the hill. And dopamine, the neurological hormone of motivation, so whenever you feel motivated at 3 a.m. or during random points of the day, dopamine is being secreted into your brain, allowing you to do the work. And it can be stacked, so you can secrete dopamine and secrete more and secrete more and secrete more, until you have this inertia, you have this momentum, you have this ability to do the work because you've built dopamine on dopamine on dopamine on dopamine, and it's impossible for you to not feel motivated to do what you need to do. So how do we stack this? How do we create this inertia, this momentum, this motivation to do the work? And it's from chronological intensity planning. So grab your scrap piece of paper or your scientifically backed online planner linked in the description for just 17 pence per day, and plan your days in a specific framework. Rather than a broad to-do list, put your day in order of intensity. So you wake up, the first thing you do, make your bed. It's simple, it's easy, but it will get dopamine flowing into your brain because when you write it down and you tick it off, dopamine will be released. Next, you have a shower with a cold switch up at the end. Again, once you've wrote it down and ticked it off, you get dopamine, but also you're doing a habit like cold exposure, which is scientifically proven to increase dopamine. So now you have 3 moments during your morning where dopamine, the motivation hormone, has been secreted into your brain. And as you step out that shower, you're ready to dominate your work. And again, start off small. You have a day of content ahead. Rather than going straight into the meat and the bones of recording a video, make some content ideas, make some videos that you're going to record in the future because it's simple, creative, analytical. But once you complete the task and you're feeling good and you tick it off, you're ready to get onto the harder tasks, and you've built the momentum, the inertia, the motivation to complete the rest of your to-do list. So that's tip 1. Tip 2 in this unstimulating video is to utilize the Zeigarnik effect. So the way the brain works alongside dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin is a open and closed loop scenario. So the best way to describe this is when authors are writing a book and they need to finish their work for the day. Instead of finishing the sentence, they leave it open-ended. Instead of putting a full stop and closing the loop of whatever they're writing at the moment, they keep it open-ended, so when they come back to the work the next day, the loop is still open and they can jump back into the work easily. And how you can utilize this, again, similarly to chronological intensity planning, is having that to-do list, having that clear set objective list of what you need to get done, because as you go through the list, you're opening the broad Zeigarnik loop of the to-do list. So you started the to-do list and your brain wants you to finish the to-do list to close the loop and free up that neurological space. But also you get this micro Zeigarnik effect. So in the task you're completing, so say if on my to-do list it says record this video, as I'm in this video, I'm going to get more motivation to complete the video so I can close the micro Zeigarnik loop and get the reward of dopamine from ticking the task off. The other piece of advice from this one tip is that you shouldn't tick off things you haven't done. There's a couple of reasons behind this, because number one, obviously you're lying to yourself, you're building this false conviction, and you're making your brain think that you can cheat, you can cop out, you can make excuses while still getting the reward of ticking off the to-do list and closing the loop and getting the reward. So don't tick off if you haven't done. And the second reason why that's so useful is because if you don't tick it off, it's still ticking away in the back of your brain. You still need to do the task. You still need to close the loop. So maybe you're not feeling motivated to do it in the morning, you get half of the work done. When the evening rolls around, your brain wants you to do it. Motivation will be secreted and you'll get it done, even if it's the last thing you do during the day. Super useful. Just before we get into the final piece of advice in this video, I do have a high leverage opportunity for you. If you are someone who's keen to make progress in productivity, the top link in the description will take you to my productivity performance plan, where I'm changing lives forever. I will hold your hand through the trials and tribulations of productivity and give you my exact productivity framework that I will apply directly to your life, to your schedule, to your routine, to your day, to ensure you get your work done and dominate your to-do list. You'll get templates, trackers, tools, a free award-winning physical planner, and my personal phone number so I can hold you accountable and ensure you're making progress. And if you don't complete at least 20 fully planned and executed productive days within 30 days of working with me, I will work for free until I get you to that result. So the final piece of advice in this understimulating video is internal triggers are the problem of procrastination. So when you feel unmotivated, when you feel in this rut of procrastination, when you really can't be bothered to do the work you set yourself, sometimes it's not a lack of motivation, it's not being this lazy person that you perceive you are. It's you and your body and your brain escaping internal triggers of uncomfort. Maybe you feel anxious because there's this massive exam in a couple of weeks and you feel underprepared and you feel stressed. That is the internal trigger that's causing procrastination. So when you sit down to revise for that exam and you procrastinate and you're lazy and you're unproductive, you're not unproductive, you're just fearful and stressed and anxious for the exam. So your brain's seeking comfort. It feels the bad emotion, it sees the obstacle of work. Eliminate work, do something nice, scroll on your phone, watch a YouTube video, eat some food. So the reason behind your procrastination is not always a lack of dopamine. Sometimes it's too much internal triggers taking you off the path of productivity. Maybe you're trying to do a bit of work for your business, but you know you have a meeting with a big client in 2 hours and your brain has this internal trigger of uncomfort because you're deep down nervous for the meeting or you're excited for the meeting. The internal triggers don't have to be bad. They can sometimes be positive, but they can still take you away from being productive because you haven't settled them. So how do we eliminate these internal triggers and actualize productivity and beat procrastination in this sense? So number one, name the fear, name the trigger, name the anxiety, name the excitement, name the nerves. What are you feeling? Whether you write it down, whether you just say it in your head or say it out loud. I'm feeling anxious right now because I know I have a huge exam tomorrow and I'm underprepared. Half of the battle of silencing the internal triggers is to name them and just realize what they are. Secondly, utilize the temptation bundling trick. So this is mostly for when you're feeling ultimately down bad and you're really struggling with these internal triggers, is to pair the soothing aspect of what will take you away from the internal trigger with the work. So usually when you feel anxious, you watch YouTube. Whether you know it consciously or subconsciously, when you feel anxious, you watch YouTube. When you feel this internal trigger and you've named it as anxiety, watch YouTube while you do your work. You're soothing the part of the brain that wants this internal trigger to be silenced while completing the things you've said yourself. And obviously, this can't be applicable all the time. I can't be watching a YouTube video while I record this video, obviously. But it's applicable in a lot of the cases, especially if you're self-employed or you're revising or you're in education. Identify the trigger, name the trigger, and temptation bundle it. Do the work while soothing the trigger, and you can balance out this procrastination. But obviously, in the long run, to manage this, you have to put the investment into meditation, into journaling, into these mindfulness practices that are going to allow you to maintain a peaceful inner texture. And that's something you've got to do. But in the short term, that'll work well. So that was it. That was the most understimulating video you'll watch today, giving you straight advice on productivity. And if you want more help from me, the top link will take you to my productivity performance plan where I'm changing lives forever. And if you don't complete at least 20 fully planned and executed productive days within 30 days of working with me, I will work for free until I get you to that result. If that sounds interesting, check it out. But I appreciate you for watching.